All right, Chapter 2, Operating Instructions. The TM53805261110 description of use of the operator control of the integrators. This is a Caterpillar 130GS series grader. Generally, do not attempt to operate with the grader until they become familiar with the location, use of the controls and indicator with the work package described all operative with the controls and indicator the operator controls and indicators. We're going to back out of this 1 degree. Alright, one is your left side of the earth moving, one is the earth moving controls, two is the turning signal that has your lever, three is the electrical monitoring system, four is a steering console adjustment lever, five is the articulation indicator, the electrical monitoring system fault light, six, seven is the rear slide earth moving controls. These left side earth moving controls set for the control of the earth moving equipment. To turn the signal has the lever raise the lever, the right turn signal, or the left turn signal, place the lever in center position to turn off, hold the lever that has a splasher. Electro monitoring system will contain the malfunction warning indicators of the system of the machine. The steering console adjustment places the rear lever and release the steering console to allow the adjustment. And the articulation indicator indicates the articulation angle. The monitor system flashes for the EMS fault is present. The right side of earth moving the controls. Set with the controls of earth of the moving equipment. Number 7. So yeah. All right, your operator controls. You have 9. Your steering wheel. 9 is the steering wheel tilt lock, and the 10 is the surface brake pedal. 11 is the decelerator pedal. The 12 is the transmission modulator pedal. 13 is the headlight dimmer switch. 14 is steering wheel. Okay. Steering wheel, the tilt lock, recounter with the clockwise evolution with the adjustment, rotate the clockwise, turn to the tighten, and surf the brake pedal with the press of the pedal to slow and stop the machine, accelerate pedal, press the pedal to increase the engine speed, above the top of the pedal with the shut down the engine, decelerator pedal to decrease the engine speed to go over the governor setting. Transmission, modular pedal, disengage the power to the wheels, you move slow to move the on obstacle 12 and 13 headlight dimmer switch. Press the switch for the change the headlight beams from low to high to the beam. Press the switch again with return the headlight beams to low beam. Steering wheel. The control machine directs for the control turn steering wheel clockwise turn right. The turning steel wheel clockwise turn to the left. All right, your electromagnetic electro monitoring system panel. Starting with 615, the coolant temperature fall with the indicator flash for the on and off of the engine coolant temperature of the above 225 degrees Fahrenheit. 6 is your alternator fail indicator that flashes on if the indicating malfunction change for charging the circuit. 17 is a low fuel indicator that flashes on if the indicating low fuel. 18 is a emergency electromagnetic monitoring system panel with a test switch. The battery disconnects the switch and holds the test switch on, and the panel that indicates the switch should flash. The EMS fault light should blink. Any panel that indicates the fault light does not work, notify the unit of maintenance. 19 hydraulic oil temperature fault indicator. The flashing off the indicator hydraulic oil temperature is above 190 degrees Fahrenheit. 20 is brake air pressure fault indicator. The flashes on and off when the air pressure of the area of the circuit is below 65 psi of the electromagnetic monitoring system. Fault light and the fault light are also activated. 21 is the engine oil pressure fault with the flashes on and if the indicator the oil pressure low of the AMS fault light over the fault feature with the fault alarm also activated. Our electrical monitoring system panel continued. 22 is the blade flow switch. If equipped with a switch for the on position indicator with the on, the blade will move it up and down following the contour of the ground. 23 is the blade flow indicator. The switch for the on position the indicator is on. If equipped, 24 is if the left turn signal indicator goes on the left signal indicator will flash. 25 right turn signal indicator with the indicator will flash. 26 is your supplemental steering indicator. Indicator lights on the wheel system is working. 27 supplemental steering switch. 28 auxiliary hydraulic pump switch if equipped with using during sectionalization for the hydraulic system of control. 29 is the using differential lock switch locks unlock for differential. 30 is the direct differential lock indicator light if the differential is unlocked. Earth moving control. The left side 31 is the from the left side blank left side blade control. Left side blade height with the control of the three position. Raise pull the lever back to raise the left side of the blade. Hold the center position. Hold the in the center position. Hold the blade in the set position. Lower move the lever forward to the lower to left side of the blade. Blade shift control. Blade slide shift control is in three position. Pull the right. Pull the lever down the blade to the right. Hold the center position in the center position. Left, move to the left. Move lever forward, and blade moves to the left. All right, blade tip control. Blade tip control has three position. Blade the pull lever to the top of the edge of the blade. Tip of the rear of the machine. Hold center position. Hold the plane with the set position forward. Move the lever forward edge of the blade. Tilt with the front of the machine. Then 34 is also your blade circle driver control. Place the drive circle drive, then control with the three position clockwise. Pull the lever back with the circle rotates clockwise. So hold the center position. Hold the center of the position counterclockwise. Move the lever forward with the circle rotates counterclockwise. All right, 35. The blade center center shift. Blade center shift control the three position. Pull the lever back and drawbar. Blade the circle and move to the right. Hold center position over the hold with the drawbar. Blade circle in the set position. Left move the lever forward with the drawbar. Pull blade the circle to move to the left. The articulation control have three position right. Pull the lever backward the rear machine. The articulate for the right. Hold the center blade of the function with the current articulation. Left move the left lever forward rear of the machine articulates to the left. The scarifier control. Scarifier has three position. Pull to the right. Pull the lever back to raise the scarifier. Hold the center position. Hold the scarifier in the set position. Lower. Move the lever forward to lower the scarifier to the ground. Wheel in control. When the wheel in control in three position. Right. Pull the lever to the front wheels lean to the right. Hold the center position. Hold when the lean set to the position left. Move the lever forward. The front wheels lean to the left. All right, and 39 was on the other page. The right side blade control height with the three position rate with the blow. Pull the lever to the right side of the blade and hold center position. Hold the blade in set position. Lower. Move the lever forward with lower the right to the side of the blade. All right, 40. The transmission shift lever allows the operator to select the transmission. The end for the neutral, push the end for the neutral standard engine, starting the engine and when parking the machine. Reverse lever speeds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Desired reverse speed, placing lever in the position 1 through 6. Reverse lever the right side with the shifting control box. Forward speed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Reverse speed with the placing lever in position 1 through 6 and forward. Left side of the shift control box. Governor control. Lever to set the engine speed with the move of the forward. Increase the engine speed with the move of the rear. Of the rear to decrease the engine speed. Do not use the cruise control. With the parking emergency brake, move the lever forward to set the parking emergency brake. Lock with the transmission shift lever. Then move lever rearward to release the parking brake and emergency release the gear and section lever. All right, your military light switch and unloading valve. The 43 is the military light switch control for the operating. Serve with the blackout parking with the instrumental panel with the operating with the blackout mode with the work lights, and serve with the directional light to disable the blackout, backup alarm, and horn also disabled in blackout mode. You select the desired mode with lightning where you use the unlock 46 switch for the change over the modes. 45 on hydraulic unloading valve. The pressure the hydraulic system pressure reduced the load on the engine start. 46 unlock switch. Lift up the unlock mode switch from the lock position with the release. 47 panel brightness switch. To adjust the brightness and instrumental panel lights. Operator control panel 48 is your front floodlight switch, which is the control of the floodlight switch located in the front of the operator compartment. 49 is the rear floodlight switch, control of the floodlight located in the rear of the machine. 50 either starting aid switch, control of either the starting aid or either injected with an intake with a calibrated amount with each of the button you press. 51 is the center lock shift. The lock center shift holds the position, unlocks the center shift allowing the adjustment. There's 42. Engine start switch is position the switch in the term of the right of the crank engine. For the 53 is the control panel light. It illuminates operator control panel. Engine compartment 51, 54, 55, and 56. 54 is the engine oil fill cap. Remove the cap and add oil to the engine crankcase. 55 is your oil dipstick. It indicates the level of the oil in the engine crankcase. It should be between the add and fuel engine stop lines of the dipstick. And 56 for the air cleaner housing the primary and secondary air filters. Also in 57 and 58, which is on the next page, 57 and 58. 57, 58. Hydraulic reserve site gauge that provides visual indication of oil level of the operating range above the bottom of the line with the gauge. Hydraulic reservoir fill cap. Move the cap to add hydraulic oil to the hydraulic tank. Engine control, carbon continued. 59, 60, 61, 62, and 63. 59, air filter, surface indicator, indicate with the air cleaner with an inadequate indicator, yellow or green, indicator red, red with the surface of the air cleaner, press the button, bottom reset after servicing. 60, fuel system priming pump that helps move the air trapped in the fuel system filament even after fuel filter replacement. 50, 61, fuel filter. Remove the debris from the fuel system before entering the engine. 62, transmission oil disc indicates the level of the oil transmission level should be between add and full engine idling limits with add dipstick. 63, transmission oil fill cap. Remove the cap of the add transmission oil with the transmission. Alright, engine compartment continued. 57, 64, and 65. The 64 is the fuel tank disc tip that indicates the fuel tank of the indicates the level in the fuel tank mark on the dipstick at 10 to 15%, 10 to 50%, 10%, 50% in full. Radiator cap. Remove the cap of the engine to add coolant to the radiator. Alright, 66, 67, 66 and 67. 66 is your air tank drains. If you use the remove moisture for the sediment with the air tanks, two drain with the valves, one each for the end. The air tank with the dirt chamber, the air tank with the provides air reserve that is separate with the break of the circuits. Your oil sampling devices. 68 and 69. 68 is engine oil sampling used to collect the sample of the engine oil. 69 and transmission oil sampling valve to use to collect some sample of the transmission oil. Engine compartment exterior 71, 70, 70, 71, 72, 73. 70 the either starting age switch with control of the either starting age either injected to indicate with the calibrated amount with each of the button press. And start switch 130 GS to crank the engine with road battery disconnection switch to activate the electrical system. Insert for the key to turn the switch on. Then switch to the left off then move the key to turn the electrical and turn off the electrical system. 73 main circuit breaker that provides overload protection for the electrical system. Press to reset. Alright, 74, 75, 76, and 77. Hour meter with the records of the total engine operating in the hours that value of the determined the surface intervals. Engine cooling temperature indicates the cooling temperature of the normal operating temperature between 160 degrees, 227 degrees Fahrenheit. Alarm will sound. Air pressure for the indicator the air pressure for the air system, normal operating pressure for the green range. Air pressure gave the indicate the air pressure for the air system, the normal operating pressure within the green range. 78 and 79, pivot locking pin that prevents pivoting of the machine during the transportation move before operating machine. 79, wheel lean locking pin. This prevents the front of the wheel from leaning during the transportation move before operating of the machine. So you got your locking pins, you got to take those out. Those are part of the locking pin locations. 130 GCE, the door shaft latch, the left side catch the door in an open position. 81, door side latch, 8, right side catch the door, hold the door open position. 82, wiper control panel, front wiper, the location for the control of the front wipers, upper lower, the washer of the wiper view located behind the control panel. Alright, 83, 84, 85, 86, and 87. The panel light illuminate the wiper control panel, lubricate upper windshield wiper washer control, the 2-speed control turn clockwise, lower windshield wiper washer controls lower front wipers and washer. The light position within the light, and the light will pop out when hot, and washer reservoir and fill containing the window and the washer solvent. Alright, 88 and 89, dome light switch, control of the dome light with a switch for the bright off over the dim position. 89, dome light and illuminated for the operator compartment. Alright, 90, 91, and 92. The temperature control switch is the number 90. Pull off the knob to increase the temperature, push to reduce the temperature. 91 is the fan switch. The two toggle switches control high and low speed with the two blower system motors. And 92 for the heater, provide the heater for the operating compartment. 93 and 94, compress the front defrost fan aids clean from the frost for the windshield. 94 rear defrost fan aids the cleaning of the frost from the rear of the window. 130 GCCE continued. 96 and 95 hidden, 96 hidden. Main circuit breaker that provides overload protection for the electrical system. Preset reset. Battery disconnection switch to activate the electrical switch. Insert the key to turn the switch on. To turn the switch left, remove the turn off the electrical system. End of work package. All right, operation under usual conditions. The machine has been designed to operate with a safely efficient within the limits specified in the TM operation. Began with these limits to provide prohibited accordance with the AR-71 without written approval of the commander, U.S. Army Tank of the Automotive the Army Command of the A-10 with the AMSTA DSA CS Warren, Michigan 48 and 397 5000 hearing. Warning: the hearing protection required for the operating of the machine. Failure to aware of the hearing protection from the cover of the hearing law of the work package contained with the instruction from the safety of the operating with the machine with a usual condition from the repeat. Read and become familiar with the information work package in the WP000600 before operating the machine. Operating under the usual condition of the WP000700. Mounting and dismounting of the machine. Warning: you with the cause of the maintain 3-point contact at all times without the mounting but dismounting of the machine to avoid injury. Not you with the steering wheel as a handhold. Failure to follow these machine warnings may cause injury. Mount and dismount of the machine only at a location. Step with the grab handles. Do not use the steering wheel as a handhold. Ensure the step and the grab handles are clean and secure before using the face of the machine with the mounting of the dismounting forward. Maintain minimum 3-point contact at all times with the 2 feet, 1 hand, 2 feet in one hand, 2 hands on 1 foot. Never mount, dismount with the moving of the machine. Never jump from the machine. Do not mount with the dismount with the machine while carrying the tools and supply. An adjustment of the daily check. Note: refer to the WP000400 for the location operating control before moving the operating with the preventive maintenance of the service. This is before starting the engine. WP001200 or W001300. Head adjustment and daily check continued. Operational under usual conditions. Initial adjustment of the daily checks continued. Caution: when the wheel locking pin with the pivot locking pin must be removed before operating the machine. Failure to follow this caution may result in damage to the machine. Remove the wheel locking pin from the front of the machine. Remove the pivot locking pin with the center of the machine. Turn the battery disconnect. Turn on the battery disconnect the battery. Turn on battery disconnect switch. Occupy the adjusting seat with the adjust the rear area. Adjust the rear view with exterior mirrors if equipped. If so required, do not operate the machine unless the seatbelt has been fastened. Fail to file in the warning may cause the injury to death of the personnel fastening the seatbelt. Alright, starting the engine. Warning: do not operate the engine with a clean flow of air due to the danger of carbon monoxide poison from the exhaust fumes. Allow the start of the operating engine with well-ventilated area. If the area is enclosed in the area, been enclosed outside, failure to follow the warnings may cause the injury to death of the personnel and be delivered to the personal area with the operating machine. Allow to check the ensure of the area is clear with the personnel starting the engine. Failure to follow the machine warning may cause the injury to death of personnel. If hearing protection is required for the operating machine, failure to wear the hearing protection may cause the hearing loss. No, the further WP0004 00 for location operation controls. Starting engine above 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Ensure the blade is lowered to the ground. Ensure the transmission is neutral. Ensure the parking blade is applied with the parking control lever to push forward. Ensure the hydraulic control center leverage in the center hold position. Ensure all the accessories are off. Ensure that all the personnel are clear of the machine. Insert the battery disconnect switch and key in the turn on position. In the temperature of below 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Pressure for the hydraulic unloading. The release of the afterload engine has been started. Partially depress the accelerator pedal hold during the cranking. Starting the engine continued. Do not crank the engine. Caution: do not crank the starter motor for more than 30 seconds at a time. After 30 seconds, allow the starter motor to cool at least 2 minutes before attempting to start again. Excessive heat of the starter motor may result in damage and premature starting the failure. Push in and turn the start switch to the start position when the engine starts. Release the start switch. Caution: turbocharging damage can result with the engine RPM to keep the low oil pressure for the indicator that the electro monitoring system in the panel has been stopped flashing. Okay, release accelerator pedal after the engine started. The L if the engine oil pressure does not indicate the stop flashing with the 10 seconds after the engine starts. Stop the engine pulling backwards. Accelerator pedal. Perform the troubleshooting. M. After the engine is started, perceive the machine warm up. Starting the engine below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Using either starting aid. Ensure the blade is lowered to the ground. Ensure the transmission neutral. Ensure the parking brake is applied. The parking brake control lever to push forward. Ensure the hydraulic control lever in center hold position. Ensure all accessories are off. Ensure all the personnel are clear of the machine. Insert the battery disconnect switch key and turn on the right position. Then move the hydraulic unloading valve with the hold to 1 to 2 minutes after the engine is started. Partially depress the accelerator pedal for the hold during the cranking. Caution: do not crank the starter with the motor for more than 30 seconds at the time. After 30 seconds, allow the starter motor to cool with at least 2 minutes before starting with an attempt to start the engine again. Excessive heat of the starter motor may result in the damage of the premature even the start failure. After 7 starting attempt, 30 seconds over the cranking valve with a 2-minute wait for 30 minutes before starting the attempt with the time that's applied with the 30-second cranking cycle within 30 minutes before the next attempt. Push in and turn the start switch to the start position. Caution you starting the engine. Continue to caution when either starting either sparingly with the cold starting the purpose only excessively either with the crank without cranking the car with the piston or ring damage. No, and either only with the while cranking the engine with the initial start until the engine is running smoothly. Push either the starting aid with the down through 30 seconds with relief the 2 to 3 seconds operating switch 2 to 3 seconds intervals and just crank. Continue with the use the switch 2 to 3 seconds intervals until the engine starts running smoothly. Release the start switch when the engine starts. Caution. Turbocharger damage can result with the engine RPM but if not kept low and the oil pressure indicator of the AMS panel has stopped flashing. Release the accelerator pedal after the engine has started and if the engine oil pressure indicator does not stop flashing 10 seconds after the engine starts, then stop the engine pulling of the backwards and the accelerator pedal performing the troubleshooting. 0 engine if the engine after the engine has started proceed with the machine warm up over the operating of the engine idle 5 minutes of warning and warm up engine but during the warm up of the electrical motor system panel indicates for the seconds for the abnormal temperature pressure shut down the engine for the first time of the problem. 2. Continue with the warm up of the machine as followed. The temperature greater than 32 degrees Fahrenheit warm up the machine with a time of total approximately 15 minutes. If the temperature is less than 32 degrees Fahrenheit warm up the machine is total approximately 30 minutes. If the temperature is less than 0 degrees Fahrenheit the hydraulic function is sluggish and additional time may be needed. The cycle steering of the machine controls to assist the hydraulic step in the system warm up to ensure that all the functional property water burning. Be alert that all personnel in the area while operating the machine access all the way check for the ensure the area is clear of the pressure for the obstruction of the starting the engine. Will move the machine. Will move the ambulance failure to follow the warning. May cover the injury to do the personal damage of equipment. Do not allow riders on the machine failure to file with the warning may cause the injury or death of personnel. No, refer to the WP000400, the description of the transmission control. Transmission range, and for the neutral, normal transmission position when the machine is not used with the engine, and start with the engine and idle the engine for the parking, and allow for the transmission, and neutral for the applying with the parking brake when the machine is left unintended for the park or stop. To select the specific reverse and the range for the move the transmission, select shift to the right with the reverse and pull back to the desired gear of the normal of the second and third back up the alarm will sound when the reverse is gear. To select the specific forward gear range for the move of the transmission, shift left with the left, the forward, pull back with the desired gear of the normal second and third. Warning, make sure all the personnel with the clear with the machine work area to make sure all the seatbelts are fastened. Do not coast downhill to keep the transmission engaged. Do not push the down transmission pedal modulator pedal while going downhill. Failure to follow these rules warning may result with the injury to personnel with the damage of the equipment. Downshift to one position at the time while reducing the engine for the ground speed. The downshift when going downhill to the same gear with the U to climb the grade. When operating with the side of the slope when the high speed with the may compromise safety. Moving the grader. Moving the governor control level with the low idle position rate with all the implements applied with the instrumental. Apply the transmission modulator pedal with the strip of the brake of the pedal with the hold. Release the brake. Parking and emergency brake. Move the transmission control into the appropriate position. Release the strip of the pedal. Release the transmission modulator pedal. The machine will start to move. Set the governor control level to obtain the desired speed. The operate with the light load for the first 5 minutes. Push the accelerator pedal down with the machine. Move faster with the speed with the governor control level. Release the accelerator pedal. Machine will also remove the governor speed. Push the accelerator pedal down with the machine with the slow down below the set with the governor control level. Release the accelerator pedal. The machine will remove and resume with the governor speed. Upshift to one position at the time of the engine ground speed. Increase the downshift to one position at the time while at the same time with reducing the machine speed with the surface brake application. Operating machine stopping the grader. Move the governor control level forward to reduce the engine speed. And apply the surface brake pedal to the transmission modulator pedal to the stopping machine. C. Move the transmission control into the neutral. Apply with the parking emergency brake. Parking the grader. Warning: never leave the operator with the compartment with applying the brake without applying the brake parking brake. Do not use the parking emergency brake to stop the moving the machine under usual conditions. Only if the surface brake is failed, apply the parking emergency brake. Failure to follow them warning with the result of the injury to personnel with the damage. Equipment that causes prolonged idling may cause the wet stacking, sludge build up in the engine. Apply the parking emergency brake with the circuit of the machine against the movement of the park. 2. Lower blade and scare for the ground and apply the slight downward pressure. Operational differential lock. Caution: except for the wheel spin with the uncontrolled wheel spin can cause the accelerated wear of the powertrain component within tires. Improper use of the differential lock may damage the component of the differential lock of the powertrain. The differential lock switch should be in lock position most of the time. The differential lock switch should only be unlocked with the position when making sharp turns with a large articulation exchange. Change especially on the hard and dry surfaces on the road and machine the higher speeds and hard surfaces. When turning the differential lock on the switch position, the on position to keep the differential lock with the on position while making the small steering articulation adjustment. This will prevent wheel slippage with the traction and support with power the equal the distributed each for the wheel with all the wheels of the turn at the same speed. Anticipate you for the differential lock before its wheel slip. If the curves do not engage the differential lock while one wheel is slipping, the difference decreasing the engine RPM until the wheel stops spinning. Then the engine engage the differential lock. Operating steering. Operator controls the machine direction with the steering wheel. Avoid oversteering. Become familiar with the steering characteristics of the machine. The tempo of the maneuver is limited with the space. Operating steering with continue with the event with the steering of the system. The failure to perform the following: stop the machine, safe at the location, apply with the parking emergency brake, with the shut down the engine, troubleshooting malfunction. Do not operate the machine until the problem is corrected. For the lean, the articulation described as either traveling, either moving the operation. Engine shutdown. Caution. Stop engine immediately after it has been operated with the low of the green result of the overheating. The articulated accelerated wear of the engine components. The following shutdown procedure will allow the engine to cool to prevent the excessive temperature in the turbocharger center housing. Failure to shut down the engine properly may cause the premature engine failure with the run of the engine low. Idle 5 minutes for the turn off the machine. Lights and accessory. Pull the accelerator pedal with the operator with the seat. The shut down the engine. Do not try to shut down the engine with a battery disconnect switch. After operation, perform the after operation preventive and maintenance check services and turn the battery disconnect switch to the level off position. Remove the key in the battery disconnect switch. Check close the lock and door of the windows if equipped. End of work package. Alright, note, the advanced operation, the operative tips. Note, the information for the working package is provided with the supplement of the basic operation procedures described in the work package 0000500 for the further reading of the and understanding of the book of both of the work package 0000500, the essential for the safe and efficient mechanical and machine operator. If the machine is equipped with a laser level, to refer to the TM56675-34812NP. The work package is designed to provide general information for the advance for the operating instructions to maximize machine efficiency potential. Machines are to ensure the safety and the efficient operation of the operative is responsible for performing the preventive matrix over at the job site to ensure the machine with readily to perform the mission to reduce the downtime of the machine failures. The facility of the preventive maintenance checks over to ensure the machine is clean, wash the machine to remove the dust and dirt with a good interfere with the inspection of the preventive maintenance. After operation determine the requirements, the next mission sets the mission adjustment the machine adjustment can be made in advance for the FI acquired. Traveling earth moving operation, turning around the evening articulation to prevent possible damage of the driver of the train. Make sure the differential is locked in before timing the turning of the maneuvering the machine over the tight corners. Turn left and articulate the frame to the left. Turn the right to articulate the frame to the right. Traveling in earth-moving conditions, turning around in tight areas, caution when watch clearance between the blade and the front of the tires, articulating the machine lean. The wheels slightly to the direction of the turn, the right from the right turn, and left to the left turn, return the left wheels. Travel as far forward as possible. Turn the front wheels in opposite direction back of the machine up as possible. Line it up with the new direction travel. Traveling earth-moving operation continue. Turning around in tight areas continue. Turn the wheels in the new travel direction straight with the wheels after completed. Backing out with the drop-off ditch. Stop with the machine, rave the blade, and implement. Articulated rail right will move the back. Move back slowly. Okay. Backing off the drop of the ditch. Turn left the wheel, moving the back slowly. All right. Continue to back up. The machine is complete with the drop of the ditch. Grading around an object. Alright, press the transmission modular pedal to move the machine slowly or inch around the object. Ground around the object, then continue with the note. The ground is on grade as close to the object as possible. Minimize the hand cleanup. The grade closest to the object. When traveling a straight line, the side shift the blade to the grade object. Passing the object, begin to move the back with that center position, and then once past the object, place the blade should be back in a original position. Traveling earth-moving operation continued. Grading on an S-curve of the caution. Do not allow the blade to contact with the area with the articulating machine. Failure to follow the caution may result in the damage of the machine. Articulate left, turn the side shift to the right. Turn the straight, move with the slide shift if necessary. Okay. Articulate the right turn, left side shift. Continue the grade. Right hand leveling. During the right hand leveling, left cylinder with the vertical and right left cylinder will be slightly angled. You with the center shift of the position with a circle approximately 8 inches to the left. Move with the center shift of the lock line, pin left with an index and run position. Set the bed blades kind of cabinet and material outside of the left of the rear wheels. Set the blade horizontally at the desired depth. Okay, so this is on right hand leveling. Okay. Right hand leveling, continue. Lean the wheel to the left, overcome the side draft. To burn to tip of the blade, position with the material being with the work. Start with the top of the blade slightly ahead of the cutting edge. You for the condition work of the material side by side. Okay. Right hand level to continue. Note that the normally machine with the frame straight with a flat blade with the articulated with the counteract the draft with the heavy blades load with the front with the tandem toward the heel of the blade. The wheel start with a spin with the spin, turn the front with the tandems away from the heel of the blade. This will reduce the weight of the cut and reduce the load of the machine and normal load of the working to deliver the material with the outside of the rear of the wheels. This will maintain smooth surface of the rear wheels. Spin spread and loose material over the surface until it is smooth. Okay. Left hand leveling. During the left hand leveling, right left cylinder will be vertical and left cylinder will be slightly angled. Use the center shift of the position from the circle approximately 8 inches. Then move to the right. Move the center shift lock pin and levered into the X and run position. Left hand leveling. Continue to set the blades cast material out on the right side of the wheel. Set the blade as the horizontal depth of the cut. Lean the wheels with the right to overcome the side of the draft. Left hand level and continue. Tip of the blade with the best position material being worked. Drive at the top of the blade slightly after the cutting of the edge would be under the continuity of the work of the material side to side. Normally, the machine you with the frame straight with the flat blade, particularly with the counteract side with the red draft with the heavy blades and slow with the front with the tandem with the torque with the heel of the blade. If the wheel starts to spin with the front with the tandem away from the heel of the blade, this will reduce the width of the cut and reduce the load of the machine. Normal leveling and working to deliver the material outside of the rear of the wheels. This will be maintained smooth surface of the rear wheels. 7. The spread of the loose material over the surface until it's smooth. Right hand V ditching. All right, make sure the blade is lower to the ground. Retract with the center for the locking position. Foul with the caution the result of the damage to the machine. Make sure the frame is straight alignment with the machine is articulated with the tire side walls and may be forced against the black slope of causing the side walls damage, forcing dirt between the tire and the right with the rim causing the air loss and flat tires. Set the crankshaft lock pin with the center position. Move the center shift lock pin and lever the index to run position. Set the blade with the right end of the line over the outer edge with the right from the top of the tip of the blade to the top of the blade, slightly ahead of the cutting edge. Right hand V ditching continued. Raise 3. Raise the left cylinder with a high position angle of the blade with the delivery of the material inside the left of the rear of the wheels. 4. Lower the right left cylinder to set of the blade tip of the desired depth of the cut. And 5. Lean the wheel to the left to make sure the shaft of the 2 to 4 inch of the 50 to 102 millimeters marking pass. Our right hand ditching V ditching. Continue. Keep the right front with the tire with the bottom of the ditch. Continue the ditching and if desired depth. Left hand V ditching. Caution. Make sure the blade is low off the ground with the retracting the center lock shift to the power with the caution make result of the damage in the machine. Make sure that the straight alignment of the machine articulate with the side walls may be forced against the back slope of the causing the side wall damage of the forcing the dirt between the time rim and causing air to flat the tire. Set the crankshaft with the locking pin with the center position. Move the center shift with the locking pin with the index running position. Set the blade with the left end with the line with the outer edge with the left front tire. The blade with the top of the blade with the slightly ahead of the cutting edge. 3. Left hand V ditching continued. 3. Raise the right left cylinder to the high position angle of the blade with the deliver the material inside of the right rear wheel. 4. Lower the left cylinder to the blade tip of the desired depth of the cut. 5. Lean the wheel to the right. Make sure the 2 to 4 inch of the 50 to 102 millimeters marking pass. Left hand V ditching control. Continue 6. Keep the left front tire with the bottom of the ditch. Continue the ditching the desired depth. Ditch back sloping. Caution: make sure the blade with the lower of the ground to be retracting the center shift locking pin. Failure to follow this caution may result in the damage of the machine. Tilt the blade forward, shift the center shift position in the top position. You let both blade in the control. Move the center shift locking pin. Move the lever to the index and run position. Extend the center shift the left cylinder is needed to rotate the circle to the left of the 5. Lower the left hand cylinder when the circling is when circle is turning. Ditch back, sloping, continued. See the heel of the blade in front of the rear of the right rear tire. Lower the right left cylinder with the 7th degree of the slope. The wheels should normally be nearly the vertical position. 8, lean the wheels toward the slope with a heavier cut. 9, lean the wheels away from the slope with a lighter cut. Right hand cut ditch cleanup. Right-handed ditch cleanup. Caution: make sure the blade with the lower with the ground before the retracting the center locking pin. Failure to follow the caution may result in the damage of the machine. 1. Set the center locking pinion with the right center of the position. Move the center locking pin with the lever with the index run position. Set the right end of the blade behind the right front of the tire. Lower the right left cylinder with the set of the blade with the depth of the ditch. Right hand ditch cleanup. Continue to set the left cylinder to deliver the material onto the slope again with the tandems without cutting. 5. Lean the front wheels slightly to the left. And 6. Another pass is required to move the material of the slope onto the shoulder, spread the material and finish for the final grade. Our traveling earth moving operations, left-handed ditch cleanup. The caution: make sure the blade with the lower of the ground with the retracting the center shift of the locking pin with the failure to flow with this caution result with the damage to the pin to the machine. 1. Set the center shift locking pin with the lever center of the position, the center left pin lever to the index in the running position. Set the left end with the blade up behind the left hand front tire. 3. Lower the left hand cylinder to set the blade at the depth of the ditch. 4. Set the right left cylinder to deliver the material on the slope between the tandems without cutting. Left-hand ditch cleanup to continue. 5. Leave the front wheel slightly to the right. 6. Another passage required to move the material with the slip on the other shoulder speed to spread the material and finish the final grade. Right-hand shoulder cleanup. The caution: make sure the blade is lower to the ground before retracting the center lift shift. The locking pin failure to follow with this caution may result in the damage of the machine. The crankshift locking pin with the center position. Move the center shift and the locking pin with the index and run position. Set the blade at the right end of the line with the outer edge of the right tire with the material delivered between the wheels. 3. Right-hand shoulder should clean up. Continue. 3. Lift the cylinder of the blade horizontally and desire the depth of the cut. And 4. Lean the front wheel slightly to the left. Left-hand shoulder clean up caution. Make sure the blade is lower with the ground with the reach forward. Retracting the center left lock and failure to follow this caution may result in the damage of the machine. Set the carrying shift lock pin in the center position. Move the center shift locking pin for the index with the running position. Set the blade with the left end of the line with the outside of the edge of the left front tire with the material delivered between the wheels. Left-hand shoulder cleanup. Continue with 3. Lower the left cylinder with the blade the horizontal within desired depth of the cut. And 4. Lean with the front wheel slightly to the right. Road building V-ditch method. The step then produced at one side of the road. Repeat the step on the opposite side. Begin the light cut with a heavy cut. 2. Permanent form. Another heavy cut with a cleaning with the shoulder. Traveling earth moving the operation condition road building V-ditching method to let the center to perform and another heavy cut. Clean the shoulder and spread the center. Slope of the bank on the backside with the ditch to clean the bottom. And then 6. Road building V-ditch method. Continue ditch passing with the cleaning of the shape inside the slope. Finishing the shoulder pass. Level and finish. Traveling and moving operation continued. Flat bottom ditching. If no V ditches exist, build a V ditch at the desired depth of the flat bottom ditch. With the shoulder slope should be flatter than the normal ending with the furry finished shoulder flying. With the tip of the blade forward, move the center shift the locking pin with the right center position. Move the center shift locking pin with the lever to the index run position. The high with the right front with the fire or tire with the movement of the V ditch. 3 5. Set up the blade so that the toe with the inside of the front with the right front tire with the desired width of the bottom end of the ditch. 6. Flat bottom ditching. Continue to 6. Lower the right left cylinder to show the depth of the cut. 7. Raise the left cylinder desired shoulder slope. So looking this front wheel to the left, and it's got this second V ditch in the same depth slightly above the first one. 9. Cut a flat bottom. Set the right left cylinder to the required depth. 10. Set the left cylinder is required. 11. Move the central shifting locking pin to the far right position. Move the center left shifting locking pin to the index and run position. 12. Start the right from the tire at the bottom of the first V ditch. 13. Set the right end of the bottom of the right end of the blade at the bottom of the back slope. 4. Lower the right left cylinder on the point of the blade and on stop at the grade ditch. 15. Lower the left cylinder to the desired depth of the cut. Lean with the front wheel to the left. 16. Set the blade over the sharp angle to move this material to the slope of the ditch. 17. Spread the windrow and finish with the final grade. Road building flat bottom ditch method. Note the step of the procedure is one side with the repeat the step opposite side flat inside slope. Left hand trenching the cut out of the bottom of the width of the depth and clean the shoulder with the spread of the center. 4. Finish the blank slope with the flat bottom of the ditch out and clean the ditch with a clean the inside of the slope. The finish of the pass level to the levels finishing level and finish. Traveling earth moving the operation continued grading of the wet ditch. Articulate with the machine with the front wheel of the blades are in ditch with the steel with the front wheels. Note the method may be used to avoid obstruction whenever the clearing of the old ditch with the which have the tree overhangs or rocks or ledges, etc. Keep the rear wheels with the shoulder to prevent wheel slips in the wheel with the material of the ditch. Alright, grade on a 3-to-1 slope. Warning, only experienced operators should operate with the machine that steps a steep side slope. The near fully articulated the machine uphill with a steep slope. Failure to follow these warnings may cause the injury to damage the machine. Note, when working on steep slope with the operative machine for the first gear with the reduce the engine speed. When working on slope with the use of the accelerator to control speed of the machine. When operating the extreme slope with the use of the crab steering with the keep the back of the grade downside of the cut. Articulate the frame with the plate for the frame in the offset position and the maximum stability. Grading on a 3-to-1 slope. Use the crab steering with the front of the machine that tends to slip to do the heavy side of the blade. A high bank cut is right. Make sure the blade is lower to the ground, retracting the center locking pin. Failure to follow this caution may result in damage to the machine. Road base of the cut of the U-base uniform. If the material is hard to slope the road bed slightly, dip the bank of the keep of the machine slide away from the bank. 3. Tip the blade with the 3/4 inch full position forward. High bank cut right side. Move the center locking shift the locking pin with the left position. Move the center shift the locking lever to the index and with the run position. Slide shift the bed. Side shift the blade to the right, rotate the circle counterclockwise, lower the left cylinder while circling is turning. 7. Lower the left cylinder to the set of the wheel's blade at the bottom of the slope in line with the outer edge of the rear tire. The right tire should be V at the bottom of the slope. Hard bank the right side cuts. Lower the right side cylinder so that the degree of the back bank slope, move the cut gradually. Note, when the wheels normally should be near the vertical position, leaning the wheels toward the slope of the heavier cut. Note, the procedure shown on the right side of the position blade opposite with the shown on the left side, and keep the material on the low slope side of the outside of the side of the rear wheels, lean the wheels away from the slope of the lighter cut. Alright, extreme side reach caution. Make sure the blade is lower to the ground with the, before reaching with retracting the center lift shaft locking pin. Failure to follow these caution may result in damage to the machine. Note, the following step with the extremely side of the reach with the right, with the extreme left side with the reach position with the center locking pin played to the far left. Make the center shift locking pin with the far right position. Move the center shift locking pin left with the index and run position. Slide with the blade with the far position. Lower the blade to the desired depth and set at the angle to deliver the material to the side. Alright, your front-mounted scare for operation caution. When you use the scare for the frame must be stripped when carrying the scare for the fully raised position. Do not allow the scare for the beam with the contact of the drawbar. Raise the scare for with the turning. Failure to follow these cautions may cause the damage of the machine. Enter the material gradually when traveling in a straight line. Use all the shinks of light material. Failure shrink the heavy material. Keep the scare for the deep of this condition. Permit the mass the travel speed for the low and break up the paving to begin with the under circulating with life. If the scare for 5, all the teeth of the contain the remaining of the front scaffold when leveling the grade of the blade. Caution, not reverse the scare for the teeth of the main pack of the frame. Remove all the scare for the teeth of the set with the link of the rod and short addition of the reverse blade and ditching the set with the scare for when the dirt begin to accumulate end of the work package. And this we move on to operations unusual conditions. The machine had designed the operator to safely efficient within the limits specified in the TM. Operates with the beyond the limits of accordance with the AR-71 without approval with the commander of the U.S. Army Tank of the Automotive Armaments Command of the 810 AMSTA DSA CS Warren and Michigan 48 and 3975000 section contained with the instruction for the safety operation of the 130 unusual condition. In addition, with the normal, the preventive maintenance of the special care must be taken to keep the machine operational extreme with the temperature with the other environmental slave conditions. Slave starting. Warning: when starting the slave, when slave starting the NATO of the slave, the cable does not have the loosening, the missing insulation. Do not proceed. If the suitable cable is not available, do not use the civilian type of the jumper cable. Do not use allow to disable the booster machine to come in contact with either each of the other time during slave starting the failure. Follow these warnings may be cause injury to death. personnel. No, ensure both disabled machine boosters are equipped with the NATO slave with receptacles. Remove the slave, the receptacle with the disabled machine booster machine. Connect the slave cable to the booster machine slave with the receptacle. Connect the other end of the slave with the cable to the slave with the receptacle to the disabled machine located at the left side of the engine compartment. To turn on the battery disconnection with the disabled machine. Start the booster machine run at the speed above the idle wait approximately 5 minutes and start the disabled machine. And if the engine fails to start, the unit notify the unit maintenance after disabling the machine with return the booster this machine to idle. Move the slave cable to disable the machine from the booster machine. Operating in extreme condition, extremely cold. General, extreme cold causes may cause the lubricating, thickening, the congealing. Material batteries may free with the lose with electrical efficiency. Electrical insulation may cause the short circuit, the fall. Fuel may not readily deatomize with the combustion. Various materials will become harder and brittle, easily damaged. The cooling system requires the adequate protection with extreme cold fuel. Lubricant if the antifreeze compound requires special storage handling. And you would prefer to the FM 9207 for additional information. Cooling system. Inspect the leaks from the general condition. Make sure that the clamp and tight. Check the fluid level of the radiator. Notify the unit maintenance and if the needs for the service with the fuel tank. Do not allow the fuel tanks to remain partially empty for a long period of time. The extremely cold weather fill after each of the period with the help avoid the water condensation for the fuel tank. Move all the ice and snow from them around with the fuel filler opening from the refueling. The other electrical system. Inspect the battery cable, wiring, hardness of the wiring, and to check for the brakes and cracks caused by the cold weather. For any problem with the unit, made if the save the batteries, use the light with the other electrical equipment is possible. Little as possible. Lubrication according to the preventive maintenance check surfaces and introduction of the temperature rate range they apply with the lowest expected temperature. The engine operation before starting. Make sure the fuel oil level of the engine transmission tandem to each with enough to flow. The oil drips from the dipstick that is not thin enough to the engine to start. Use the starting engine below 32 degrees Fahrenheit when you use the starting aid. The pressure to allow the engine time that reads the operation of the temperature be alert. But the tires may be defrozen to the ground. Hydraulic unloading of the valve down to the reduce load on the engine starting. Keep the hydraulic unloading the valve down for the 2 minutes for the engine start. When the engine running with a low idle, release the hydraulic, unloading the valve slowly, allow the pump to load gradually with the cold thickening of the oil. Running the engine as reduced speed only long enough to circulate the oil through the engine. They increase the engine speed with warming up the engine. Low idling speed to decrease the extremely cold temperature can result in incomplete combustion from a heavy deposit of the valve on the valve of the cover of the radiator necessary to bring the engine to the operation of the temperature. Machine operation. To test the brakes vehicle, the control, carefully move with all the implement of the control slowly to the warm the hydraulic oil. Cycle each of the controls several times. The normal to wear and warm up the period with extremely cold with 30 minutes. Operating under the light low for the first 5 minutes for the operation. Start with the driver at the very slow for about 100 yards. And if the problem is notify the unit maintenance required. Parking machine. If the machine will be parked for a short period of the time in the shelter with the area out of the wind, if the shelter is not available to park the machine with the radiator however that does not face the wind, if the machine will park with a long shutdown period of time, the park with the high ground with the the plank with the brush for the ray for the relatively dry surface to keep the time resolve with the snow, water, ice, and mud. If possible, clean the snow and ice and mud from the machine as soon as possible. After shutdown, if the machine will be parked on a long period of time, the unit maintenance prepare with the machine for the storage, ensure the tire for the properly installed. Inflated the general extreme heat during the very hot weather, alerting the operating procedure may be necessary to prevent the machine from overheating, avoid the cause of the high engine RPM. They must have alert the possible overheating, keep the close eye with the EMS engine coolant with the hydraulic oil temperature indicator. If the coolant hydraulic temperature for the indicators come on, but you may operate 3/4 of the workload into indicators and go out of it. The important maintain the engine RPM with the heating of the cooling with the indicators will stay on. Then after the more than 10 minutes, reduce the workload at the top of the machine and notify the unit maintenance of the system. The cooling system. Warning: do not serve with the cooling system on the left. The engine has been allowed to cool down. The pressure of the cooling system expands with the escape of the steam of the hot and cooling will cause severe burns. Do not move with the cooling system. The radiator cap of the engine is hot. Allow the engine to cool down. Failure to follow these warning may cause severe burns. Wear effective eye glove and skin protection with the handling of the coolant. To failure to follow these warnings cause injuries. Check the coolant level the frequent intervals. Keep the radiator cap tight. Make sure the radiator and the free of bug with the dust and foreign material. Check the fan belt with the tension. Report any of the damage of the loose belt in the unit maintenance. Operating with extreme condition. Lubrication according to the preventive maintenance check services introduction of the temperature range to apply with the highest standard as expected change. Expected temperature. Air cleaner. Check with the clean air perfectly cleaner with the normal intervals. Check the air cleaner indicator frequently. You notify the unit maintenance if the red indicator locks in visible position. Parking machine. Parking the machine under the cover of the windshield if equipped to protect against sandblasting. Ensure that all the tires are inflated with the proper pressure. Check with the frequently for rust. Clean and lubricate with the machine with the help to prevent deterioration. Operating with the mud and surface motor soft surface to remove the entering with the mud of the other soft surface with the check of the condition and gauge the differential lock. Select the appropriate transmission gear range for the enter a soft area of the medium speed with the gear range selected. Maintain the steady perfect accelerator pedal to keep the machine rolling until the solid ground is reached. And accelerate at the point where this wheel spin if possible. If the machine gets stuck, try to pull slowly in the low gear. Board brush and similar materials may be placed under the tires to provide traction. 4. Notify the unit maintenance to clean and inspect the floor and stick proper lubrication. Operation in the sandy, dusty areas. When moving, maintain steady even moving the transmission low gear. If they use the differential lock that's required to try to keep the machine rolling without straining the engine or powertrain. If the machine gets stuck, notify the unit's maintenance. When operating with the sandy and dusty areas, you should start service the engine and air cleaner more frequently. Make sure that each of the tires have the valve cap. If the machine overheats, stop the perform troubleshooting procedure. Make sure the engine oil level the filler with a tab tube, and then ensure the fluid filler for tab tube that are clean before the dipstick is removed to check the fluid level to collect clean the accumulation with the sand dirt around with the fluid filler location before checking the attic with the fluids. Clean the spout of the fuel containers area around with the filler cap on the fuel tank before adding the fuel. You under the extremely sandy, dusty condition, fill the fueler with the filling tanks. Cover the windshield if equipped to protect against sandblasting. The G. Notify the unit maintenance for the clean. Inspect the lubricating more frequently. H. When operating the machine, often then soften on sand, slow speed, the tire inflation pressure for the decrease, and improve the traction. I. Check the hydraulic cylinder top cylinder on top of the top circle the center shift linkage articulation cylinder frequently. Do not allow dust and dirt to collect in these areas. Operating in saltwater areas. Keep the machine as clean as possible. Wash down with the fresh water after you inspect the wire connection with closely for the corrosion. Keep lubrication points for the cleanest well lubricated. Operation at high-low altitudes. Engine operated with release for the peak performance. High altitudes. Coolant level of the engine indicated that it must be watched closely. Add coolant as necessary to operate. In snow and ice, fuel tank that should be kept full with the keep the snow for the ice away from the fuel filler with clean. No snow away from the outside indicator. Driving. Engine gave the differential lock and accelerate slowly to avoid spinning of the tires. Drive with a slower speed to give it the signal sooner. Apply this brake sooner to give the earlier warning intention to stop. This will also help to avoid skidding and maintain double the normal distance with the machine head. Keep the windshield wipers light and clean with free of the snow and ice. If approaching the difficult stretch of the road and stop and inspect the road carefully before driving on it. Select transmission gear range for the best suit with the road condition. Use the differential lock as required. Stopping ease up on the accelerator, leave the machine and gear, but always use the surface brake lightly, and even do not pump the surface brake of the pedal, but always allow the avoid setting the brake in the parking, leave the brake parking on the icy, slushy wet with the body, surface the blade for the boards, brush with the other material to prevent the protraction underneath. This will guard against the tires freezing the ground before becoming the provocative of the ice, and also will provide some of the traction with the motion when the machine started to move it again. Or fording in the 130G series grave that can be afforded with the water depth of 30 inches. Observe the following precautions with fording of any of the body with water. Before fording, check the depth of the water with the depth of this point. Make sure the bottom of the even enough through fording. Not forded with the nearest stream of more than 30 inches. Make sure the engine is operating at the full efficiency. Raise the blade and classifier, make it some height. Set the blade angle to perpendicular with the machine. Set the transmission in the lever and low. Set the governor control higher to minimize the danger of stalling. During the forging, enter the water slowly, minimize the valve and the backwash speed that should not exceed 3 to 4 miles an hour. If stalling occurs, you notify the unit maintenance. After fording, lubricate the machine complete with it as soon as possible as fording. Towing and special equipment. Towing and special techniques. Ensure the towing line is strong enough to with addition. Attach the tow line on the towing with the connection points provided with the frame. Do not allow the towing to pass faster than 85 miles an hour. Do not have tension to the tow line when inspecting. Do not jerk with the tow line. May break. Use the tow bar with the machine with the removed for more few feet. If the tow bar is attached to the machine, equalize the rear of the tow machine to provide the braking of the downhill. Do not allow all riders on the machine that is being towed. All blocks of the wheels before removing the axle show. Disconnect the brake and the emergency brake. The axle shaft to remove the parking brake emergency is disconnected the block wheels when parking. Failure to follow these warnings may result in injury to death of personnel. Disconnect the emergency parking brake emergency brake because the engine is not running during the towing of the following machine. The system will not function properly. Service the brakes will not function. Parking brake will not release. Transmission lubrication will be insufficient. Block wheels will disable the machine. Placing the emergency brake shift in the opposition. When working with a warning, when working with the roto chamber of the parking emergency brake lever with the opposition, some of the loss of the air pressure with the lever, the rod removed rapidly with the failure to power of the machine. Warning levels may result in the injury to the personnel. The move of the counter pin with the pinner rod and with the roto chamber. The machine is equipped with a supplemental steering with the use of the following steering methods. Caution: use of the supplemental steering excessively with the cause of the motor with the solenoid to overheat. Hold the manual switch on the opposition only long enough to make the steering connections. Corrections do not exceed 2 minute duration. Activated supplemental steering when only making the steering correction. Move the handle, hold manual to the manual. Switch to manual. The steering correction, then release the switch. It will return to auto when the towing operation is complete. Connect the parking emergency brake. Or connect the parking emergency brake warning. Before operating with the machine, connect the roto chamber. The parking emergency brake failure. The foul of these warnings may result in injury to personnel. Block the wheels, disable the machine. Play for the emergency brake in the opposition. Push the lever up. Drift the rod end of the lever to a small amount of 3. Move and install the pin on the rod end of the roto chamber. The remove and obtain with the new cotter pin. Unit maintenance install on the pin. Operate a portable fire extinguisher. Move the fire extinguisher from the storage. Hold the fire extinguisher upright. Stand back at 8 feet from the base of the fire. Point the nozzle of the fire. Pull the safety pin. Squat. Squeeze the lever and the discharge of the chemical as the blast fire. Use the side motion spread with the chemical after you have the fire extinguisher older, new, or the fire extinguisher end of the work package. Alright, your decal data plate gauge. Note, the scope of the data plate shown with the 130GS and 130GSE, even though the data plate with the other models are similar with the work package and illustration showing the location of all the decals data plate machine. The decal data plates, warning, rotating fan blades behind the panel to keep the panel working, the engine running with severe injury, cold curve with the contact with the fan blades. And this shows your data plates. This is also shows more data plates. Alright, your decal data plates continued. More data plates. More data plates. Alright, Chapter 3, Operator Troubleshooting.